You mean our fungi even really plants? Oh geez, shots fired. Any fungal fans in chat? Are we about to start a civil war? You think I'm the first person to get the inflection right on Behold, ADOM, so thank you, no worries at all. You haven't played since you full cleared with an ogre translocationist? Well, I mean, if you're gonna go out on any note, that's gotta be it, right? Also, what the heck is even this? We're about to get a lot of crystal spears headed our way. Don't love that. Let's see. Stairs up there? I can probably walk away a wee bit here without too much trouble. Let's double check that these are, yeah, crystal sphere 3D40, my friends. Oof, oof, oof. And I'm actually not sure if I'm able to deflect those, or reflect them more accurately. Bit of an interesting one. But no, ogre translocationists are fast becoming one of my favorite species. I mean, maybe I'm speaking a little hastily. I've played literally one, but it was just a couple weeks ago, and it was absolutely fantastic. Dragon form Manifold Assault is stupid powerful, but in the best way. It is so much fun, especially coming off of Deep Elf going into Ogre. It was just a dream come true. We were just shy of 500 health, so that was awesome. And a former city who wields 2 triple swords. Oh, imagine if you could double wield. It'd be pretty fantastic. But okay, let's hop down. Separate you from your summons real quick. Just the book, we should be able to fight. Oh, geez Louise, though, that hurts very badly. Maybe could have summoned in some friends, some angelic warriors, but that's fine. We managed to take them out with only a little bit of serious concern, which is, again, a pretty good day for me. Ogre good, for sure. No, I took my inspiration from you, for sure, Ninth, and boy, did I not regret it for even a moment. I'll have to get back in it at some point and try it once more, just because of how much fun it was. Especially since I'm trying to think, we got the dragon form. We had to use Bjornir's revivification once, and that's the only reason why we were shy on health. It'd be really fun to try and really crank on that max HP and see just how good we can get it. Doing the short sword electrocution is definitely fallen off, so let's drop that in exchange for some wand charges. That seems nice. And that should be about it. Pretty smooth sailing so far in depths, even with multiple crystal tomes all chilling together. Could have very easily been a terrifying experience, but I will definitely take it. Open entrance into a ziggurat if we so desire. I mean, this is probably not a character that needs the extra help, a little bit of extra loot, some more experience. Generally, there are quite a few reasons why you might want to at least peek into your ziggurat. I don't think we'll be too worried about it today. Though again, there is definitely a chance I come to eat those words. The two-headed Eden turning into Simulacrum might hurt quite a bit. At least it seems like our Deva is going to be taking most of the hits and just dealing most of the damage. I mean, you're doing great out there, kiddo. Keep it up. Perfect. Shine One bless our Deva with one more time in this world. Well, thank you, TSO. I will try to make good use of the fact that our buddy is sticking around. That's the thing. I oftentimes compare the Summon Divine Warrior with Brother in Arms, but at the end of the day, Summon Divine Warrior is just a wee bit stronger for sure. Not least of all because they can stick around for quite a while if you get lucky on some of those rolls. TSO, big help. Hard to get off the ground sometimes, but when you do, oh me oh my, are you in for a treat? And aren't we ever? Not too shabby here as we continue to mostly just tab our way through even depths fights. It's probably going to get me into trouble one of these days as I suddenly start to run into some serious issues, but until that day, I'm just going to laugh and tab. And And let us, I guess, just keep spinning on through here, absolutely blitzing our way through depths. You do love to see it. Hello, friend. Goodbye. So that's about as bad as we can expect. Going up against a high amount of fire damage definitely runs the risk of getting us in trouble. Something we'll have to resolve by the time we get to Zot, of course. Make sure that orbs of fire aren't taking us out. Okay, I saw the trees, saw an altar. Thought for a moment that it might be Fedhas, but no. We can, again, just guilt-free, continue on with our run as is. Fantastic. Well, my troll friends, goodbye. And there's a bunch of fire. At least with the Spriggan behind us, there's actually less chance, or they won't shoot their fire beams through, so that works out quite nicely. I'm seeing a lot of Spriggans. Is this going to be an Enchantress type thing? Maybe, just maybe. We'll have to see. I was hoping the Nethack would be replaced by one of these others, but that is a-okay. And let's actually rely on some Cleansing Flame just to get some guaranteed hits. High evasion enemies are pretty much the main reason why we love abilities like that. Ice Blast Wands, Cleansing Flame, oh, fantastic against those friggin' hordes. We do love to see it. As we continue on, we'll double check what these boots are. Just regular? No, that's fine. Nothing quite so fancy as our flying feats here. Let's bring you buddies into a bit of a narrow hallway. Mighted and hasted Iron Troll. I actually expected to go a lot worse than this, but apparently we just are totally fine. No issue whatsoever. That's good to know. Gateway to the Abyss is also good to see. That's potentially where we'll be heading. Again, it's tough because I really don't like New Abyss. It is not a good time. Also, this is definitely a time for some extra fire resistance. Let's switch over to the Ring of Boing and at least get something for our troubles. That's a lot of polearms too, which is not great. Do I have any good anti-polearm sections? You're looking for diagonal switchbacks for the most part. This is not horrible. At the very least, a long 1x1 hallway is much better. But we have one of those right here, so maybe a bit of a silly qualification. Let's bring you buddies in here real quick. Make sure we're not taking too many hits at once. You know what? I will just go through the cold. Might as well play it a little bit safer here. Do I have any challenge builds I'm thinking of doing? Not at the moment. I mean, if you have anything that you'd like to see in the future, definitely let me know, because at some point I'm hoping to have a little bit of extra time that we can potentially throw in some fun ones, especially, you know, to celebrate some of the milestones that we've hit and might hit in the future as well. So I'm always open to suggestions. Like to make a little list of things to keep in the back pocket, whether that be challenge runs or even just, you know, highly thematic setups or just something you want to see. Really, anything across the board. At some point, we definitely have to try out Hot Hells, because I haven't done that yet on stream, so that could be a lot of fun. But again, I'm all ears, because challenge runs are always a lot of fun. I think it's a really exciting part of the game, especially if you find at any point that your interest is flagging, or, you know, you've gotten a bit too consistent with winning. It can sometimes be really fun to throw in a couple of curveballs and see what sticks and how it all shakes out. First Gold Dragon. It's going to be an interesting one. They're definitely going to hit hard. And jeez Louise, they hit hard and that's a lot of poison. This went poorly very quickly. So, whoopsie daisies. Let us throw out one blink. I need to do curing. What's your range? 6 on Bolt of Fire. That's not good. But it shouldn't be the end of the world. Oh, I never swapped back to my resist poison ring. Whoopsie daisies. Don't do what I do, kids. But gold dragons are going to be an interesting challenge for us. We need resist poison, and we need a little bit of a stronger resistance to fire. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We can kind of hope that they use their poison and freezing breath a little bit more often. And also, is that right? Yes, we don't have our resistance to poison. Just double checking. That's where this ring comes in. Good old Maxiopta. And let's give this another shot, shall we? Just get juvenile fire rocks, 14 evocations. Not the best option that we could have hoped for, but it's not the end of the world either. Let's just start with some javelin tosses, then get stabbing here, and that's much better. Much better. Oh, geez Louise. How many more near-death experiences can I get myself into and survive? That's always the question of the hour, is it not? But let's turn evocations back on. I'm always happy to have that. And then I think maybe just throw in fighting. Uncapped. Just go ham, kids. And see where that leaves us. Ooh, okay, so we get teleported. That's definitely an interesting change in its own right. Let's bring you three upstairs to make sure that we're not doing anything too stupid, and then otherwise we should be able to just smack our way through real quick here. And of course, that earlier invitation for mentioning any kind of cool runs you want to see doesn't just extend to Adam. If anybody out there on the YouTube side as well, if you want to see anything, definitely let me know. We'll have some fun in the future. Don't know when we'll find some extra time to fit those in. Maybe during the summer. We'll see if things go well. I'm hoping to be starting a new job, so that might run a little counterintuitive, but I'm sure we can find a day or two to throw something together, have a little bit of fun, get a little bit wacky and wild here in the DCSS world. But as for now, let's just try and focus on making it through in one piece with Amy Winehouse here, shall we? That's the plan, at least. Again, as much as my brain tries its best to get us into terrible situations and potentially lose runs even when they're well and settled and in a good spot, doesn't mean it has to end that way. So let's see what we can do here, shall we? In fact, let's get in some cleansing flames. I kind of want to just bring in a second friend, which I guess is kind of counterintuitive to what I just did there, seeing as how I just spent all of my mana. But should be able to just get in a couple of chomps, get that back. In fact, that's something I didn't even think of that makes TSO especially strong on a Vine Stalker, is normally one of the downsides, at least again, kind of comparing it to Brother in Arms on a Berserker. One of the downsides is that it costs mana, so there are only so many friends you can bring in. Not so much when you can just take a couple of quick chomps of these enemies and be in a decent spot in that regard. So that's pretty fantastic, to say the least. Ooh, Juggernaut, even. How do we fare? Let's bring in a couple of friends. They can even potentially take hits for us. That should make the situation relatively trivial. Fantastic. Thank you, my Deva friends. In fact, we're still at 6 pips of piety? Holy moly. Well, that's that. Okie dokie. We're through vaults, kids. It's that easy, folks. Just do it. So, what do we wish to do now? Probably head to Abyss is what I was feeling. Mostly just because there aren't many characters that I do feel comfortable taking into Abyss, especially since I like to play spellcasters so much, and that's a bit of a no-go zone in general. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's definitely possible. In fact, spellcasters are obviously one of the better choices for a full 15 rune run. But usually by the time you're going through Abyss, especially this new Abyss, you're trying to be a little bit more hybrid. Make sure you can make your way through fights without spending ludicrous amounts of magic to do it. But it's a good opportunity to make a trip down there. Vaults 5, probably not a super acceptable choice for Rune 3. We'd have to do the whole teleport to the outside and slowly work our way through enemy strat, which does work, and we should probably showcase at some point, but I'm not going to worry too much about that today. Similarly, Slime is a lot easier when you have some AoE. Don't get me wrong, a couple of immolation scrolls, some silver javelins, might be able to take out the royal jelly, no problem. But at the end of the day, with our amount of regen, Abyss should be relatively straightforward. Hoping that we don't eat those words later, but we'll have to see how it goes. So with that in mind, let's find one of our Abyss gates, or rather our one Abyss gate. Let's see, what else? We don't need magic mapping. Where we're going, we won't need magic mapping. We have 3 scrolls of enchant armor. Hold up. Do I have golden? No golden dragon scales? We've killed like 3, 4 golden dragons? That's too bad, because I did kind of want to get into our treasure trove. It's not that often that we get the excuse to head that way and actually make our way in. But what else do we not want to bring down with us? Holy Wrath is probably a nice idea. Enchant weapon scrolls can go for now. 3 slots is probably enough. At the end of the day, we can always drop polymorph or wands of flame if they don't end up suiting us well. So that's something. A demigod brigand might be fun to see. Perfect. Well, yeah, I'll definitely add it to a list here. For now, I'll just write it down on this notebook I have beside me. And at some point, I'll have to make a bit more of an official list, probably on my phone, since that'll be the easiest way to keep track of a number of suggestions. But definitely, I'm excited for Demigod. I haven't played them in a long time. I think since my return to the game a year and a half ago, probably, maybe a couple years that I came back to playing. I haven't played Demigods at all, and on top of that, was it in 0.27 that they got the big overhaul that made them a lot stronger? Regardless, I'm very much looking forward to them in general. So even for that, Adam, I could probably just do that for our Demigod run in a bit here. I really like Brigand starts, very strong. So yeah, probably don't even need to wait for a special occasion there, and we'll just throw that one in. I always appreciate people taking the decision making off my plate, because I'm not a fan of needing to do that myself, so it works out. But immediately find a gate deeper into the Abyss, that's fantastic. And again, holy moly, okay. So, new strategy is no longer Abyss 3, if I remember correctly. That used to be the way to go, because it was much safer, and just took a little bit longer to find the Rune Vault. But now with the lack of experience and the fact that those transient mutations will become an absolute nightmare in no time flat, it becomes a little bit more prudent to just dive as deep as we can, make sure that we find that Rune Vault as quickly as possible, make sure that we're not taking unnecessary risks across the board. And we definitely want to be careful of those ancient zymes. Make sure that we're not losing out on regeneration, since that's one of the whole selling points on our character, and the main reason we came down here in the first place, of course. Okay, first mutator, no problems, fantastic. A little bit of alt-tab, that's fine. Ooh. Whenever I see fancy land formations, I always get my hopes up that it's the Rune Vault, even when I don't see the bespoke rune squares on the screen. But alack, alas, not quite, unfortunately. Ooh, and there's some kind of evil mans down there. For whatever reason, I'm blanking on their names. The dark reflection of the Deva, as it were. I'm sure a bunch of you out there just yelling at your screen, because it is something that we fought a few times, and I should really know, especially since even in our Ured run, where we just kept summoning them and having them as friends on our side, you'd think I would have learned to put some respect on the name, make sure that I kept it in mind. And yes, thank you, Egley, Profane Servitor. You saved me the embarrassment of continually forgetting it, as well as the frustration, saving frustration from viewers who, again, I probably drive crazy sometimes. I like to fluctuate as much as I can between absolute genius and highest degree of stupidity. Keeps things interesting. It's the same reason why we constantly put ourselves in dangerous situations in the game. It's just for the entertainment of our audiences, no other reason whatsoever. Couldn't possibly be that I'm bad. Don't be ridiculous. And perfect. But okay, we've immediately found the first couple gates down, and now it's been a little bit more sensible. Gate out is not what I'm looking for. Oh my gosh, but that's the Rune Vault right there. So again, since it's been a little while since we came down here, and in case we have any new viewers who have just joined a little bit later in the series, if you're looking for the Abyss Rune, this tile right here is what you're looking for, these green buddies. In fact, we'll get back to the regular zoom in so you can see them. These right here. That's the best indication that you're at the Rune Vault, and then you just have to find the way in and hope that it's not too terrifying. Plus, one issue that we have at the moment here is it's been a while that we've been in this section of the dungeon, and that could mean that we're going to be randomly teleported out relatively soon, so I'm hoping that this is not the case. But at the very least, I have to keep it in mind as a potential probability here, or potential issue we may come across. Fine, I won't fly into the spectral cloud of mist. Let's stay over the water, because then I don't think the shambling mangrove can grab us. So many tentacles, yeah, just adding up. I'm tempted to sprint for the rune rather, because I don't want to lose sight of it, but in order to help me in that cause, we can bring in a couple of friends. Stand in the fog here. So this is always pointed out to me, and it's something that I constantly find myself forgetting a little bit. If you're ever dealing with really nasty clouds, any source of cloud cover that you can summon, whether that be a fog scroll, mephitic clouding yourself even if you're a spellcaster, that's your best way out of it. Now we can just stand in these fire clouds, and we don't have to worry about the seething chaos. Though, once again, I do kind of want to make my way through. I'm actually going to pull out the flame wand, put up some steam. Then I would like to immediately step into that steam. No, it didn't last as long as I expected. We do this one more time, make sure I don't hit my own buddies. Step into the steam. There we go. Chaotic crabs are done for. I'm willing to step through this once for sure. Make sure that we get the rune here. Absolutely fantastic. And you've gained great experience. See, this is kind of showing how little we've actually made our way through the Abyss in the new version. I forgot this was a thing. So it tries to counteract the lack of experience you gain down here a little bit. It does something. Not quite perfect, but there we go. Third rune done. Way easier than it had any right to be, if we're being honest with ourselves, but I will gladly take it. We even know that there's a gate out just over yonder here, so do you know what? Let's, before it disappears or before we get teleported, let's try and find that. Where were you? No? There's somewhere like inside of this wall, I thought. Maybe it got covered by shifting walls. But that's fine too. We'll just fight our way through a bit. Should still get a portal right away thanks to carrying the rune now. It makes it a little bit quicker. Gateway leading down is not what I'm looking for. Good job, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. I was ready for things to be a lot hairier, so I'm very happy with how that went. Pulled this different region, and there's a gate out. Okay. Well, that was way easier than it had any right to be. Cool. And you get 2 experience potions worth when you get the rune, if you remember correctly. Yeah, that's cool. Still doesn't make New Abyss worthy of a trip, in my opinion, for most characters. Obviously, already kind of talked at length about why I thought it was pretty solid for Amy Winehouse here. But at least it's something for sure. Gets rid of some of those transient mutations before things get too nasty. And okie dokie. Okay. So, we're 3 runes deep. Am I ready to just go straight to Zot here? Maybe. Might be in for a nice, quick finish to the run today. Wouldn't that be lovely? Absolutely fantastic. because that's the thing. We could fool around a bit, go through vaults. It might be nice to get, like, try and find a condenser vein, maybe get a blink scroll or two back. In fact, I could also potentially try out a ziggurat floor or two. That might be a decent idea for some consumables. But I have a decent base here. I have lots of summoning scrolls. Got good silence. I'm ready to at least do the usual dipping of the toes here and see how Zot goes. You haven't played in a while, but Slimes was always breakpoint for you. Go or no go? Definitely can be. I feel like Slime, I very much need to have like my set of tools. If I have a set of tools, which changes depending on the character. Again, on a character like this, it would just be at least 2, but probably 3 immolation scrolls, a nice stack of silver javelins, and condenser vein is another big one for clearing out the slimes at the end. No problem. Average caster, if I have ignition, then I'm good to go to slime. That's about all it takes. So it helps to have these immolation scrolls and whatnot for them too. But slime will always be an interesting call because the stacking of corrosion, even with the resistance to it, can get real nasty real fast. And you have to have a good idea, especially slime got upgraded. I don't know the last time you played, but I think it was in like, was it 0.25, 0.26 that like rock slimes and quicksilver slimes were added? So it did get a little bit trickier. It's no longer quite the one-stop shop. But yeah, I definitely feel you need those tools. And if I don't have those tools, then it's terrifying to go into slime. Absolute nightmare. You get overwhelmed very easily for sure. That's one thing I like about the constant dev cycle in this game is it does just constantly change the way that I interact with the different areas. Like Spider used to be just a free rune. No problems whatsoever. I mean, sure, you probably want poison resistance, but even without that, I generally found myself just clearing Spider without too much to do about nothing. But new Spider is an absolute nightmare, and it's gone to the point where now I don't know which S branch I prefer, which one I would like. And yeah, those Azure slimes, those can hurt too. Yeah, my least favorite are obviously like the acid blobs, kind of for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Why it might be obvious, because I do complain mostly about the corrosion damage. But the Azure slimes can definitely be a big problem, especially since I often find myself giving up my cold protection in exchange for getting that like corrosive resistances and stuff. And so that generally comes back to bite me a wee bit. Hello, friends. Let us... Don't like being slowed with the gold dragon coming here. So let's switch to regular javelins, and I think I'm just going to try and get in some preliminary damage. Also, we're kind of just wasting time here, waiting for the slow to wear off. Shouldn't take too much damage from the baby draconian. Didn't quite get the slow to completely wear off, but it's a start, and we should be able to finish now. Not too shabby, besides that damnation causing some issues. In fact, let's Cleansing Flame here. Oof. Jeez Louise, we're taking more damage than I expected. That slow definitely hit harder than I would like. Don't have blink scrolls. If we do a fear scroll, it's fairly likely to get both of you. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna look real stupid. Let's try it out. They do start running away. Fortunately, with our regen as well, we can kind of just run around for a little bit, and we very quickly find ourselves in a good spot until a shifter completely ruins my day, and then I'm gonna drink haste to counteract the slow. Whoopsie daisies. Again, fortunately, fairly forgiving on this character. We can make some mistakes, and it's not the end of the world, because that could have been horrifying. Yikes. Definitely is a bit of an understatement, but I agree. Oh, terrifying. Oh, we have fun here. That is the part of the game that makes me feel the most alive, so I guess that is true. That is fun in my books at the very least. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'll take what I can get. Okay, my angelic friend, you and I against the world. Absolutely fantastic. Jazzy, you just got Malign Gateway and it nearly killed you. Probably should have read the description. Okay, that's good to note in the future because, yeah, that's not something I've experimented much with in the past, so I'm sure I would have ran into the exact same issue, so thanks for the heads up. Let's do Find real quick, and not Ziggurat, I want the Trove. Because let's do this. I mean, it's tempting to wear these. Let's take a look real quick. AC would increase by 4, we'd get another fire resistance pip. Lose one of our colds. Let's see, if I put this on, maybe that's my best bet for deciding how I feel about it. We lose our elect, but we also have our poison, which means we could swap this ring back to... Oh, we threw away our elect. Whoopsie daisies. But that puts us in a better place for fire resistance, which is something we've been complaining about. Still at 3 pips of willpower. Oh, this is a harder decision than I initially suspected. I was hoping we'd just get a free treasure trove because I'm not using my enchant armor scrolls. Don't need the gold dragon. It's actually kind of great. Let's do a quick search for Arlek. Oops, not Arlev. Arlek here and see if there's anything else. So this ring, MP plus 9, actually kind of nice for us. I'd rather do that than get the -5. Blind Gateway attacks you after a while? Yeah, very good to know. Oh, that seems like could be absolutely terrifying for sure. But okie dokie. Part of my issue here is that it's just been so long since we got a treasure trove, so I'm hoping it has something wonderful in it. I know in my heart of hearts that it's probably going to be trash, and I'll very much regret any and all decisions that led me to this moment. But what if it's not? What if it's great? Wouldn't that be lovely? You know what? We end so many characters off in Gold Dragon scales. It's kind of boring after a while, you know? Not to say I won't change my mind in the future, especially if we come across, like, the King. Scales of the King or whatever. But I think we see enough of this in the average run, so let's get a little bit weird with it. Chant these up to +3, swap over to our old armor, and as much as I hate the thought of it, I will give you this. Totally worth it. Even for 1 Scroll of Blinking, that's awesome. Scroll of Acquirement as well? Okay. Okay, I'm with this. This is pretty sweet. Blind Gateway is a win condition. It kills everything. Orbs of Fire can't do anything against it. It's so good. That does sound pretty lovely. Again, I think in one of our recent characters, we did have a little bit of a discussion about how good the spell is. So one of these days, I'm going to have to try it out. In fact, that would maybe be another kind of fun riff on a summoner or on a challenge build, is to go for like a full-fledged summoner. I don't want to attack anything. I want to just let my summons do all the killing for me. That could be really fun. The early game would be a nightmare, but after a certain point you can definitely get enough firepower. Just get Malign Gateway plus Haunt, GG. Exactly, if it's possible, that's really fun. You got on Genie, who doesn't really have such a good thing going right now? Good to know. Perfect. Well, no, that's the opposite of fun. And yes, this is the Gold Dragon Scale Trove, for sure. And also, Cat is perfect for torturing myself with only summons. Then might have to do that. If it's a mix between a challenge run and like a fun stylized run, that's just the perfect amalgamation, the perfect conflation of those two concepts. Might drive myself crazy, but that's why we do it on a special stream, so that if I hate it, I'll probably stick with it for a while because I'm happy to put myself through a little bit of misery. There's a little bit of masochism buried deep down inside. If you all hate it, then we only have to do it that one session, and we'll throw that idea out the window because, of course, as much as me having fun is a lovely side effect of this whole series, the main reason we're here is because I'm hoping that it's a good time for all of you watching, whether that be just watching for fun, maybe to learn a little something, even though I always like to build caveats into that because I don't feel like I'm the best place to learn. In fact, if you want to learn stuff, probably should go watch Nine Settler instead of me. But still take what I can get. Am I not wearing any second ring? Let's change that. Definitely would like to get our poison resistance back before things get too terrible here. And if all of you friends could come back to me. You can see that we are starting to fall off a bit here. The quick blade definitely has some issues built in, just because our damage output isn't quite as great as we'd like. It kind of works out against Orbs of Fire because with our anti-magic bite, we can kind of prevent them from getting too many attacks in. If they're not able to cast spells, they just kind of flail needlessly in the air, doing absolutely nothing, which is fantastic. Exactly what I would like to see. But a lot of these other creatures, it gets a little bit rough, and we don't want to be spending PD in every single fight, so we need to find a nice little balanced ground. And yeah, no worries, Ninth. I do really feel like you know your stuff a lot more than I do. I just am usually winging it and having a good time. Also, no, I did not check the acquirement scroll, Eggly. Like I said, I'm maybe not the best player of the game, but I do have a heck of a time. Oh, look at that. Scroll of Disappointment. See invisible? Not even slightly necessary. Staff of Poison. Already got one of those sitting on the floor somewhere. Scarf of Repulsion. Compared to our +2 Cloak of Preservation, kind of trash. So, even the money amount. I mean, normally I'm not a greedy man. I say as somebody who absolutely adores following Gozag in the game. But 810 gold, you can do a little bit better than that acquirement scroll. Come on, at least try. You're just embarrassing yourself. But I'll take the money, I guess. It is something. It is what it is. And it's back on the road. We do have another gold dragon scales here, so I may end up taking that on, since it did give us really nice resistances for moving forward. A little bit of standard defense as well. Never really hurts. Let's move out into a slightly less bouncy space. Never too late to die. Okay. I think these buddies are fast, right? Yes, they're very fast, even one might say. Let's go fog for sure. Then teleport. Walk through the fog. Hopefully wind up in a good spot. Might actually try and kill you. Perfect. That actually kind of works out. Note to self. Be very cautious in most of these fights. I think I've gotten in too much of the habit of kind of just having my way through without a care in the world, and that is a bad habit to get yourself in, to say the least, especially when you come across lightning-themed enemies with their bounce shots, because you don't want to be taking multiple hits from a single attack every single time. Resistance to electricity, I was about to say only gets you to that, or only gets you so far. There we go. Words, not my strong point this evening. But putting it into a bit of context here, a single bounce off of a wall and back into your character completely negates a resistance to electricity. I've never quite thought about it that way. But yeah, if it's reduced by 50%, you get hit twice, that's 100%, baby. That's quick maths. I know, it's highbrow, 50% plus 50%, but it's true. But okay, let's bring in an angel, and then I think I will just go with some cleansing flames. I would like to simplify this equation as much as possible here. In fact, if I can pop into our little hallway here, that seems like a good situation. Then we should be able to just fight through in the classic of fashion. Okie dokie, what a wild ride. It sure is something this run. We really fluctuate between completely unstoppable and, oh god, I'm gonna die. Please help me. I'm going to die. And nowhere in between. Not a single time. It's a day of extremes, to say the very least. But now we can kill gold dragons a little bit more straightforwardly, so that's nice. Shows that we are getting a little bit stronger here. And man, casting lightning bolt in hallways to get that bounce is pure D&D, right? It's lovely. It's up there with casting delayed blast fireball right as your buddy opens, then closes the door. Well, the bouncing electric bolts is definitely, it holds such a sweet spot in my heart. From D&D itself, but even more so, I think, from growing up playing, I mean, it is very much related to D&D, playing the Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale games. Lightning bolt was so much fun. I mean, fun, very much the asterisk version of the word, because either it's super strong and completely trivializes the fight, or you accidentally bounce the lightning bolt 3 times and ends up hitting yourself over and over again. You feel like an idiot as everyone around you dies a horrifying death. Oh, good old D&D. All in good fun, of course. All in the name of fun. But okie dokie, our Zot here has an Orb of Fire, so it'll be a nice little skill check. See if we are at a decent point for moving forward. I'd like to take you upstairs, please. Hopefully this doesn't go too poorly. Definitely scarier than a care to imagine, but managed to get through in one piece. Then it's just a horde of draconians coming our way. Let us this time use a box of Beast Friend instead of our usual coterie of angelical foes. I guess friends on our side, but foes for the enemy. Perspective is important. Oof, that crystal spear hurts. I was hoping for a reflection, but it is what it is. Let's just quickly get in with some anti-magic bites, and there we go. We can even keep exploring, or not. I was gonna say, thanks to our good regeneration, we're in a pretty good spot for keeping our summon around, at least for a wee bit, but that's cool too. Runs out just in time to make my point moot. And let's see, where is everything located? There's our Orb of Fire, friend. So that's good to know. Let's draw some attention here real quick. Use some boomerangs to soften the target up. And perfect. If we can just draw you all one at a time, form a nice orderly queue, that would be lovely. Very similarly, I'd like this Quicksilver Dragon to just come hang out for a wee bit, just the two of us. Perfect. This is almost like the perfect revenge against a lot of the enemies that normally gives us trouble here, because we happen to kind of thrive against like purple draconians and Quicksilver Dragons, and lately that's been a nightmare because we've played so many casters that rely on transmutations to you know, do the whole staying alive thing. So vengeance is so sweet to make our way through with no problem in the world here. Ring of Evasion, probably don't need. Drop that real quick. And once more into the breach. Should I even bother trying the Orb of Fire? I could have tried to just avoid it, but you know what, we're here. Let's get a little wild. We only have 1 pip of fire resistance, which is actually quite bad. I've hidden genetic defects. Excuse me? To gain experience, your body's hidden potential will express itself in the form of new detrimental mutations. Oh, fun. It's the gift that keeps on giving. But there we go. You can see once we get in a few hits here, what's the Orb of Fire going to do? We have no mutations coming in, no fireballs, flame bolts. I say as one just launches off, but I think you get the point. It's pretty close. Pretty close to ideal. Not too shabby. Head right in, friend. Perfect. So nice little test against an Orb of Fire. We actually fare better against an Orb of Fire, I feel, than some of the more traditional sketchy enemies, so that's its own thing. But I'm tempted to drink a mutation potion. Normally I'd save them, but because this will just cascade into multiple issues, I might want to just take the hit now, see what happens. We might even get good mutations. If I get fire resistance, then I'm actually in the God Seed and should have no complaints for the rest of my DCSS career. You know what, let's do it. I have 5 potions. That should be enough to get rid of the bad stuff. And we just get strength and we get rid of that one. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. That's a good enough result for me to call it quits for sure. Fantastic. Let's not get too ridiculous now. Now, if you friends could follow me back a wee bit, just so we're not attracting too much attention. You can only get so many hits in before you just have to follow along. Perfect. Oh, and where did you come from? Hello, my mothy boy. Now this is awfully sketchy in its own right, or obviously sketchy in its own right, because constriction is a whole thing, but that's fine. If we start to have issues, we'll just call in a friend. 1 cleansing flame. And I'm actually going to stick around a wee bit here, just to make use of our summon, and even throwing out a few cleansing flames, just to make sure we don't take too much damage, because things do get wild and wacky faster than I'd care to think. 1 more of those, and that should be good enough to call it a day. Fantastic. Thanks, friends.